The great chamber filled with voices from 847 different worlds. Some spoke through water-filled tanks. Others used machines to turn their thoughts into sounds. A few glowed with different colors to share their ideas. The Galactic Council had never seen so many species gathered in one place. Ambassador Zixthara stood at the center. Her blue skin shimmered under the lights. 6 arms moved as she spoke. Her voice reached every corner of the massive room. Fellow beings of the galaxy, she began. We face the greatest threat our worlds have ever known. The room grew quiet. Even the gas-based life forms stopped their swirling patterns to listen. 300 years ago, a species called humans left their home world. They spread across space like a virus. They have taken 12,000 worlds. They change planets to suit their needs. They ignore our laws. They break every rule we hold sacred. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some delegates looked shocked, others angry. A few seemed afraid. Zixthara continued. Look at these images. The air above her head showed pictures from human colonies. Green worlds covered in strange buildings. Massive machines moving mountains. Humans in strange suits walking on dead planets that somehow grew plants. They terraform without permission, Zixthara said. They build cities on worlds that should stay wild. They mine asteroid belts that belong to no one. But worst of all, they ignore the sacred non-interference protocols. A delegate from the Crystalline Collective spoke up. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. How many worlds did you say? 12,000, Zixthara repeated. In 300 years, the chamber erupted in noise. Most species took thousands of years to colonize 50 worlds. Some never left their home systems. Humans had done more in 3 centuries than most civilizations accomplished in their entire existence. This cannot be allowed to continue, Zixthara declared. They must be stopped before they consume the entire galaxy. The vote took 6 hours. Every species had their say. Some wanted to try talking first. Others suggested economic pressure. But the evidence was clear. Humans were too dangerous to negotiate with. The final tally was unanimous. All 847 species agreed. War against the human infestation. Meanwhile, on a small blue planet in a quiet corner of the galaxy, Secretary General Maria Vasquez sat in her office drinking coffee. The morning sun streamed through her window. Birds sang in the trees outside. It was Tuesday, and she had a normal day planned. Her assistant knocked on the door. Mom? We received a message from something called the Galactic Council. Maria looked up from her tablet. Never heard of them. What do they want? They say they've declared war on humanity. Maria blinked. She set down her coffee cup. War? Are you sure? The assistant handed her a datapad. I triple-checked the translation. They seem very serious about it. Maria read the message. It was formal and full of big words. The basic meaning was clear enough. 847 alien species had decided humans were bad. They were coming to fight. She finished reading and looked around the room. Her cabinet members were arriving for the morning briefing. They chatted about normal things. The weather, sports, someone's new grandchild. Coffee, anyone? Maria asked. She stood up and walked to the machine in the corner. We still need to discuss the Mars agricultural quotas. Her defense minister, General Thompson, poured himself a cup. What's this I hear about aliens? Oh, that. Maria waved her hand. Some Galactic Council declared war on us. I'll add it to Thursday's agenda. Right now, we need to figure out why the potato yields on Mars are down 15%. The room buzzed with conversation about farming techniques and soil composition. The general mention of war got about as much attention as a weather report. Dr. Sarah Chun, the science advisor, glanced at the alien message. Interesting translation algorithm they're using. Very efficient. We should study that. After we fix the potato problem, Maria said firmly. General Thompson scratched his chin. Should I alert the fleet commanders? Maria considered this for a moment. If they ask, tell them some neighbors are being difficult. Nothing we can't handle. But let's not interrupt the training exercises. The new recruits are finally getting the hang of dimensional navigation. The meeting continued for 2 hours. They discussed crop rotation, weather control systems, and a school funding bill. The declaration of war from 847 alien species got exactly 3 minutes of attention. Any other business? Maria asked as they wrapped up. My daughter's graduation is next week, mentioned the education minister. She's getting her degree in stellar engineering. Only 19 years old. Wonderful, Maria smiled. The young people these days are so bright. As the cabinet members left, Maria's assistant approached her desk. Ma'am, what should I tell the media about the war declaration? Maria thought for a moment. Standard response. The government is aware of the situation and is monitoring developments. Don't make it sound important. We don't want to worry people unnecessarily. And the Galactic Council? They're expecting some kind of response. Send them a polite note. Thank them for the heads up. Tell them we'll get back to them when our schedule opens up. The assistant looked confused. When will that be? Maria checked her calendar. It was packed with important meetings. Budget reviews. Infrastructure projects. A ceremony for the opening of the new space elevator. How about Thursday afternoon? I have a gap between the education summit and dinner with the Mars colonial representatives. I'll pencil them in. As the day went on, word spread about the war declaration. Most humans reacted the same way their leaders had, with mild interest and a shrug. Wars happen sometimes. Neighbors got upset. Usually, things worked out fine in the end. Our children went to school. Adults went to work. Farmers tended their crops on 100 different worlds. Engineers built impossible things. Artists created beauty from nothing. Life continued as normal. The greatest military alliance in galactic history had just declared war on humanity. And humanity had decided to deal with it next Thursday, right after lunch. Admiral Krethanox had commanded fleets for 60 years. He had fought in 12 different wars across the galaxy. He had never seen anything like the armada gathering around his flagship. 50,000 warships floated in formation near the hegemony homeworld. Each ship carried enough firepower to crack a planet. The smallest vessels were still larger than most species' biggest dreadnoughts. The largest ones could hold entire cities. Status report. The Admiral demanded. Captain Vexstar consulted her displays. All battle groups report ready, sir. The Crystalline Collective brought their shard ships. The Hive Mind deployed their biovessels. Even the peaceful traders contributed their defensive platforms. Krethanox nodded. The peaceful traders never fought anyone. If they had joined this war, the human threat must be real. Intelligence on human forces? Approximately 1,200 vessels, sir, spread across their territory. Our smallest battle group outnumbers their entire fleet. The Admiral felt confident. 1,200 ships against 50,000. Even if the humans were better fighters than expected, the numbers were impossible to overcome. This would be swift and decisive. Time to reach human space? 17 days at maximum speed, sir. Begin the advance. Send fast scouts ahead. I want to know what we're facing. Meanwhile, on a quiet street in the human colony of New Denver, Dr. James Chun was having a different kind of morning. His 8-year-old daughter Sarah bounced around the kitchen, excited about her soccer match. Dad, can you come watch today? Coach says I'm getting really good at corner kicks. James smiled and poured himself coffee. Wouldn't miss it, sweetheart. What time does it start? 2 o'clock. Right after lunch. Perfect. I'll finish my lab work and meet you at the field. His neighbor, Bob Martinez, knocked on the back door. Hey, James, can I borrow your lawnmower? Mine finally died. Sure thing. James handed him the keys. Heard about this war thing? Bob shrugged. Yeah, my wife mentioned it. Some aliens are upset about something. You worried? Not really. I'm more concerned about Sarah's team making it to regionals. They've been practicing hard all season. Kids these days are amazing, Bob agreed. My grandson just got accepted to the Terraforming Academy. 17 years old and already designing atmospheric processors. James waved goodbye as Bob left with the lawnmower. He returned to his breakfast and checked his tablet. The antimatter containment research was going well. His team had achieved a 97% efficiency rate. Just 3% more, and they could revolutionize energy production across. Human space. Sarah finished her cereal and grabbed her soccer bag. Bye, Dad! Don't forget the game. I'll be there, he called as she ran out to catch the school transport. The house grew quiet. James reviewed his research notes one more time. The breakthrough was so close he could taste it. Pure antimatter containment would solve dozens of technical problems they'd been working on for years. His phone buzzed. A text from his lab assistant. New readings look great. The magnetic bottle held for 6 straight hours. No degradation. James smiled. This was going to be a good day. Far above Earth's atmosphere, Council spy satellites recorded everything they saw. The operators couldn't believe the data. No military buildup, reported sensor technician fictional. No troop movements. No evacuation of civilians. Are you certain? Asked Intelligence Director Mordith. Check the readings again. I've checked 12 times, sir. Human worlds show normal activity patterns. Children attend schools. Adults go to work. Traffic moves normally on transportation networks. Mordith studied the images. Humans walked casually down streets. They sat in parks feeding small animals. Some played sports in open fields. Others tended gardens. They must be hiding their preparations, Mordith decided. Scan for underground facilities. Check for energy signatures that might indicate hidden weapons. The scans revealed something unexpected. Human infrastructure was incredibly advanced, but it wasn't military. They had devices that bent space-time for faster travel. They used controlled gravity for construction. Some facilities showed energy outputs that shouldn't be possible with known technology, but none of it seemed designed for war. It was all for normal life, transportation, manufacturing, entertainment, education. Sir, Yixnal said hesitantly, I'm reading some strange signatures from human colonies. Strange how? This colony called New Mars. They appear to be using stellar engineering for recreational purposes. Mordith looked at the display. Humans had somehow created artificial auroras in the planet's atmosphere. Beautiful colored lights danced across the sky in complex patterns. According to the scans, they were doing this for an art festival. They're using star-level energy manipulation for art? Mordith whispered. It appears so, sir. And here on Terra Nova, they've built what looks like a playground for children. But the gravity controls suggest they can create localized space-time distortions for fun. The intelligence director felt a chill run down his spine. These readings suggested technology beyond anything the Council had ever encountered. And humans were using it for children's games. Back on Earth, Shura-chan scored 2 goals in her soccer match. Her father cheered from the sidelines along with dozens of other parents. After the game, they went for ice cream to celebrate. Dad, Tommy's mom says aliens declared war on us, Sarah mentioned between spoonfuls of chocolate chip. That's right, honey. Some neighbors are being difficult. Are you worried? James considered the question seriously. Sarah was smart for her age. She deserved an honest answer. A little bit, he admitted, but not too much. We've dealt with bigger problems before. Remember when your Uncle Pete accidentally created that micro black hole during his physics experiment last year? Sarah giggled. Mom was so mad. She made him clean up the space-time distortion before dinner. Exactly. If we can handle Uncle Pete's mistakes, we can handle some grumpy aliens. That evening, James returned to his lab. His team had achieved 98% efficiency on the antimatter containment. Just 2% more to go. His colleague, Dr. Lisa Park, looked up from her workstation. You seem happy. Good day? Sarah's team won their game, and we're almost at full containment efficiency. Wonderful. Did you hear about the council thing? The war declaration? Yeah. Government's handling it Thursday. Lisa nodded and returned to her work. Good. I hate when politics interrupts important research. Outside their laboratory windows, the stars twinkled peacefully. Somewhere out there, 50,000 warships raced toward human space, carrying the greatest military force ever assembled. On Earth, children slept safely in their beds. Parents read them stories about brave heroes and distant adventures. None of them seemed particularly worried about the approaching storm. The disconnect was becoming clear to council observers. Either humans were incredibly stupid, or they knew something the rest of the galaxy didn't. Scout Captain Jelkar had seen combat in the worst corners of the galaxy. Pirates, rebels, and monsters from the void between stars. Nothing had prepared him for what waited at the edge of human space. His stealth ship approached the boundary of the Sol system. Long-range scans showed normal activity. Merchant vessels moved between planets. Construction ships worked on what looked like a space elevator. Everything seemed peaceful and ordinary. Take us closer, he ordered. But stay hidden. We need to know what defenses they have. The scout ship crept forward. Its advanced cloaking kept it invisible to most sensors. They expected to find defense platforms, patrol fleets, or early warning systems. Instead, they found a small girl. She sat inside what looked like a metal bubble, no bigger than a personal transport. The sphere drifted peacefully near the asteroid belt. According to their scans, she was doing homework. Captain, whispered Navigator Pellish. Are you seeing this? Jelkar stared at his displays. The readings made no sense. The child's tiny vessel showed energy signatures that hurt his brain to think about. Power output equivalent to a small star. Defensive capabilities that made their dreadnoughts look like paper boats. And all of it contained in something the size of a closet. It must be a mistake, he said. Run the scans again. The results were the same. Impossible energy readings. Technology that shouldn't exist. And in the middle of it all, a human child with pigtails, working on what appeared to be mathematics homework. Should we contact command? Asked Pellish. Before Jelkar could answer, a cheerful voice filled their bridge. Excuse me. The crew froze. Their cloaking should have made them completely invisible. No one could detect their ship. The little girl had looked up from her tablet and was staring directly at them through the void of space. She waved with one small hand. Hello there, she said through the universal translator. You're in a restricted zone. Do you have a permit? Captain Jelkar felt his world collapse. A child had detected their military stealth technology as easily as spotting a bird in the sky. His crew looked at him with panic in their eyes. He started to speak, then stopped. What could he possibly say? The girl waited patiently for an answer. She looked maybe 8 years old. Human features, dark hair, and pigtails, wearing what seemed to be a school uniform. Behind her in the bubble, he could see textbooks and a lunchbox. We're scouts, he finally managed. From the Galactic Council. Oh, you're the folks who declared war. The girl brightened up like he'd told her about a birthday party. How exciting! We haven't had visitors in ages. She made a note on her tablet, then looked back at them. I'm Emma Rodriguez, by the way. I'm supposed to be doing my science homework, but this is much more interesting. Science homework? Pellish whispered. Emma held up her tablet. The screen showed equations that made the navigator's head hurt. Mathematics involving dimensional theory and quantum mechanics that their greatest scientists couldn't understand. Fourth grade stuff, Emma said casually. We're learning about basic space-time manipulation. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Jalkar tried to process what he was hearing. This human child was studying mathematics that would challenge the greatest minds in the galaxy. And she called it basic. You're in fourth grade? He asked weakly. Yep. Though I might skip to fifth grade next year. Mrs. Patterson says I'm really good at stellar engineering. The captain looked at his displays again. The impossible energy readings. The technology that defied understanding. It was all real. Emma, he said carefully. What is that sphere you're in? Oh, this? Emma tapped the wall of her vessel. It's just my homework pod. Dad built it for me last weekend. It is really good Wi-Fi, and the gravity can adjust to any planet. Plus, it can go anywhere in the universe if I need to visit the library on Proxima 7. Your father built this. For homework? He's pretty handy with tools. He made my brother a treehouse that exists in 17 different dimensions. It's really cool, but kind of confusing when you're looking for the bathroom. Navigator Pellish made a strangled sound. 17 dimensions? Billy wanted more space for his comic books. Dad says reality is pretty flexible if you know how to bend it right. Captain Jalkar felt like he was falling into a black hole. Everything he thought he knew about technology, about physics, about what was possible, crumbled around him. Emma, he said slowly, I need to ask you something important. The Galactic Council has declared war on humanity. Do you understand what that means? The little girl nodded seriously. Wars are when people fight because they can't agree on things. We learned about them in history class. There used to be lots of them, but not so much anymore. We have 50,000 warships coming to attack your worlds. Emma considered this for a moment. That sounds like a lot. But my dad says numbers don't always matter. It's more about being creative and working together. Aren't you afraid? Should I be? Emma tilted her head, genuinely curious. I mean, you seem nice. A little nervous maybe, but nice. Do you want to hurt people? The question hit Jalkar like a physical blow. Did he want to hurt people? He was a soldier following orders. But looking at this innocent child, he couldn't imagine why anyone would want to cause her harm. No, I don't want to hurt anyone. Then you probably won't, Emma said with the simple logic of childhood. My dad says people mostly hurt others when they're scared or confused. Maybe the council just needs someone to explain things better. Explain what things? Emma gestured around her. How we live. What we're doing. Why we're not actually scary at all. She paused and checked something on her tablet. Oh, Dad says I should call home before letting anyone through the boundary. Want me to get him? He could explain things much better than me. The thought of meeting this child's father terrified Jalkar more than facing an entire enemy fleet. If a fourth grader could detect their stealth technology and casually manipulate space-time, what could an adult human do? That's okay, he said quickly. We should probably report back to our commanders first. Okay. But if you change your mind, I'll be here for another hour. Then I have soccer practice. Emma waved goodbye and returned to her homework. Her small vessel continued drifting peacefully through space. powered by forces that shouldn't exist and guided by a mind that found universal mathematics. Elementary. Captain Jelkar ordered his ship to retreat immediately. As they raced back toward Council space, he tried to write a report of what they'd encountered. How could he explain that a human child had detected their most advanced stealth technology? How could he describe equations that bent reality itself? His crew sat in stunned silence. They had expected to find a primitive defense network. Instead, they'd found a little girl doing impossible homework in a vessel that could probably destroy planets. When they finally reached the fleet, Admiral Krethanox read their report 3 times. Then he called for a full psychiatric evaluation of the entire scout crew. No one believed their story. It was too insane to be real. A human child with star-level technology, treating the approaching armada like an interesting school project. But other scout ships began reporting similar encounters. Children and teenagers in impossible vessels. Adults casually using technology that defied known physics. Humans treating the greatest military threat in galactic history like a minor inconvenience. The reports were dismissed as hallucinations, brought on by deep space stress. But Admiral Krethanox began to feel the first whispers of doubt creeping into his mind. What exactly were they flying toward? Admiral Krethanox stood on the bridge of his flagship as the armada approached the first human colony. 50,000 warships spread across space in perfect formation. The sight should have filled him with confidence. Instead, the scout reports had left him uneasy. "Sir, we're detecting vessels approaching our position," reported Sensor Officer Tixil. "How many? What class?" "It appears to be 1 ship, sir. Very small." They're broadcasting a friendly greeting. The Admiral frowned. 1 ship against 50,000? Either the humans were insane or this was some kind of trap. Put them on screen. The main display flickered to life. An elderly human woman appeared, smiling warmly. She had gray hair tied back in a simple ponytail and wore what looked like casual clothes. Behind her, the Admiral could see what appeared to be a comfortable living room. "Hello there," the woman said cheerfully. "I'm Captain Sarah O'Brien, retired. Welcome to our little corner of space. You folks must be the ones declaring war. How lovely. We haven't had visitors in ages." Admiral Krethanox stared at the screen. This grandmother was treating his vast armada like she was greeting neighbors at a garden party. "You are the Human Defense Force?" he asked uncertainly. Captain O'Brien laughed, a warm sound that somehow made the bridge feel less threatening. "Oh my no. I'm just on neighborhood watch today. The Defense Force is busy with training exercises near Jupiter. Something about testing new dimensional anchor techniques." "Dimensional anchors?" "Oh, you know how it is. The young folks always want to try new ways of bending reality. Fair warning, though, you might want to mind your heading. Junior Thompson has a school project about stellar cartography running around Saturn. We've got the gravitational fields set to educational demonstration right now." The Admiral's instruments immediately began screening warnings. His fleet's navigation systems detected massive gravitational anomalies throughout the solar system. Forces that could crush entire fleets were being used for a child's homework assignment. Your people use gravitational manipulation for school projects?" he whispered. "Well, how else are children supposed to learn about stellar mechanics? You can't understand how stars work without hands-on experience." Admiral Krethanox felt his understanding of reality slip another notch. His civilization had spent millennia trying to understand gravity. Humans let their children play with it. "Captain O'Brien," he said carefully, "are you aware that the Galactic Council has declared war on humanity?" "Oh yes, dear. My granddaughter mentioned it this morning. She thinks it's exciting. Haven't had a proper diplomatic incident in her lifetime. This is not a diplomatic incident. This is a military invasion. Captain O'Brien's expression grew puzzled. Are you sure? Because it looks more like a cultural misunderstanding to me. Have you tried talking to our government? They're much better at sorting out this kind of thing than I am. We tried negotiation. Your people ignored our messages for months. Well, they're probably busy. Did you try the emergency contact line? The one for urgent matters? What emergency contact line? Captain O'Brien brightened up. Oh, you poor dears. No wonder there's confusion. Let me get you the right frequency. She disappeared from view for a moment. The Admiral could hear her rummaging through what sounded like kitchen drawers. Here we go. She held up a piece of paper. This should connect you to the diplomatic corps. They handle visitor issues. Much more efficient than trying to reach the Secretary General directly. The Admiral looked at his communications officer, who shrugged helplessly. They had been trying to contact human leadership for months through official channels. This elderly woman was offering them what appeared to be a customer service number. Captain O'Brien, we need to discuss the positioning of your vessel. Our scans show energy readings that don't match any known technology. Oh, this old thing? She patted the wall fondly. Built her myself after I retired. Nothing fancy. Just needs to be comfortable for long patrols. The Admiral's sensors reported that her comfortable vessel could output more energy than his entire fleet combined. Her casual home engineering project was more advanced than their greatest battleships. You built this yourself? Retirement project. Took me about 6 months, working weekends. My husband helped with the dimensional stabilizers. He's always been better with quantum mechanics than me. A new voice called from off-screen. Sarah, tell them about the cookies. Captain O'Brien's face lit up. Oh yes. I made chocolate chip cookies this morning. Would you and your crews like some? I can replicate enough for everyone. Replicate? Matter conversion. Basic cooking technology. I can make about 50,000 servings from raw starlight. Should take maybe 10 minutes. The Admiral felt dizzy. She was offering to convert stellar energy into baked goods for his entire fleet. As a friendly gesture. That's very kind, he managed. But we're here for military purposes. Captain O'Brien's expression grew sad. Oh dear, that's unfortunate. Are you sure you can't settle this peacefully? Violence is so messy and unnecessary. Your people have violated galactic law. They must be stopped. Which laws, specifically? The Admiral consulted his notes. Unauthorized terraforming. Rapid expansion. Violation of non-interference protocols. Captain O'Brien considered this. Well, I'm just a retired patrol officer, but that sounds like bureaucratic issues to me. Have you filed the proper complaints with the Interstellar Development Board? The what? The IDB handles expansion permits and terraforming licenses. If there's been a paperwork mix-up, they're the ones to sort it out. Much more effective than shooting at each other. The Admiral realized. He had never heard of an interstellar development board. The Council had assumed humans were expanding illegally because they ignored galactic authority. But what if humans simply use different bureaucracy? Could you connect us to this development board? Of course. Let me get you their contact information. Fair warning though, they're probably in session right now. The Andromeda Expansion Committee is reviewing applications for new galaxy settlements. New galaxy settlements? Oh yes, we're running out of room in the Milky Way. Too crowded these days. The young people want more space to spread out. Admiral Krethenox sat down heavily in his command chair. Humans were treating their entire galaxy as overcrowded. They were looking at other galaxies like suburban neighborhoods. Captain O'Brien, he said weakly, how many people live in human space? Oh, I couldn't give you exact numbers. Maybe 40 trillion? 50? We stopped counting after the 30 trillion mark. Too difficult to track everyone once they start spreading into pocket dimensions. Pocket dimensions? Personal space. Everyone needs a place to call home. My grandson has a lovely little dimension where he grows prize-winning roses. Won first place at the Tau Ceti Garden Show last year. The Admiral looked around his bridge. His crew stared at their instruments in shock. Everything they thought they knew about human capabilities was crumbling. Captain, I need to ask you something directly. If we attack your colonies, what will happen? Captain O'Brien's warm smile faded slightly. Well, dear, I suppose the defense corps would have to respond. They wouldn't want civilians getting hurt. How many ships does your defense corps have? Ships? Oh, we don't really use ships for defense anymore. Too slow and cumbersome. Most of our military operates directly in space-time. Much more efficient. Operates how? Well, they can fold space to be wherever they're needed instantly. Or adjust time flow to give themselves more moments to think. Some of the advanced units can exist in multiple realities simultaneously, just to cover all possibilities. Admiral Krethenox felt his mind breaking. His fleet of 50,000 ships was facing an enemy that treated space and time as tactical tools. Captain O'Brien, please be honest with me. What chance does my fleet have against your people? The elderly woman looked genuinely sympathetic. Oh, honey, I really think you're approaching this all wrong. You don't need to fight us. You just need to talk to us properly. We're really quite friendly once you get to know us. But if we did fight... Captain O'Brien was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was gentle but serious. Dear, your ships are very impressive. Beautiful engineering. But you're thinking about this like a traditional war. That's not how we solve problems anymore. We've learned that fighting usually makes things worse for everyone. That's not what I asked. I know. She smiled sadly. The truth is, if our people wanted you gone, you'd already be gone. The fact that you're here, talking to me, means they want to find a better solution. The Admiral realized she was right. If humans possessed the technology his sensors detected, they could have eliminated his fleet before it ever reached their space. Instead, they had sent a grandmother with cookies. The truth came in pieces, like a puzzle that revealed a picture too vast to comprehend all at once. Admiral Krethenox spent 3 days collecting reports from scout teams across human space. Each report added another impossible detail to an already impossible situation. Dr. James Chun had finally acknowledged the alien situation when his daughter Sarah asked about it over dinner. The conversation, recorded by Hidden Council surveillance drones, would become the most analyzed piece of intelligence in galactic history. Dad, everyone at school is talking about the war, Sarah said, twirling spaghetti on her fork. Are the aliens really coming to fight us? Dr. Chun set down his tablet. He had been reviewing antimatter containment data, but his daughter's question deserved his full attention. Some neighbors are being difficult, sweetheart, he said gently. But don't worry. We've dealt with worse before. Remember when the dimensional barriers collapsed last year? Or when Uncle Pete accidentally created that black hole during his science fair project? Uncle Pete felt really bad about that, Sarah giggled. Mom made him fix the space-time distortion before dinner. Exactly. And we fixed it together as a family. That's what we do. Admiral Krethenox replayed the recording for the 100th time. A casual mention of dimensional barriers collapsing. A black hole created during a science fair. These were not boasts or lies. Intelligence analysis confirmed similar incidents throughout human space. Children regularly manipulated matter at the quantum level for school projects. Teenagers built pocket universes as art installations. Adults solved galactic engineering problems as weekend hobbies, but the most disturbing revelation was yet to come. Sir, reported Intelligence Director Mortith. We've completed our analysis of human daily activities across 200 colonies. And they're not preparing for war because they're busy with what they consider actually important. Admiral Krethnox studied the data displays. Children playing in parks that defied physics. Parents attending school events in realities that existed only for the duration of the presentation. Artists creating sculptures from compressed starlight, while poets wrote verses that literally reshaped local spacetime. Look at this, Mortith highlighted a section. Colony World Eden 7. The residents are hosting a music festival. They've temporarily adjusted the planet's rotation to create a 3-day sunset. 20 million people are attending an outdoor concert while massive gravitational forces paint the sky in colors that don't naturally exist. During a war? They don't see it as a war, sir. To them, we represent a small administrative problem, not worth canceling their cultural events. The Admiral watched recordings of the festival. Humans danced under impossible skies, while their children rode carousel horses that galloped through multiple dimensions. The joy and wonder on their faces was genuine. These people had power beyond imagination, and they used it to make their lives more beautiful. Here's another example, Mortith continued. New Tokyo. Dr. Yuki Tanaka is a stellar engineer. She could redesign our flagship's engine with her morning coffee. Instead, she spent yesterday helping her 5-year-old son build a treehouse. A normal treehouse? It exists in 17 different realities simultaneously because the child wanted more room for his comic books. Dr. Tanaka spent 6 hours explaining multidimensional carpentry to a kindergartner. Admiral Krethnox felt the weight of understanding settle on him like a collapsing star. Humanity hadn't barely reacted to the war declaration because they couldn't comprehend the threat. They barely reacted because to them, 50,000 warships represented a minor neighborhood dispute, not an existential crisis. The final piece of the puzzle came from an unexpected source. Emma Rodriguez, the little girl his scout captain had encountered, had submitted her science homework to her teacher. Council intelligence had intercepted it through routine surveillance. The assignment was titled, "Why Peace is More Interesting Than War," and written in the simple language of a 4th grader. But the concepts it contained would revolutionize galactic understanding of conflict resolution, philosophy, and the nature of civilization itself, Emma wrote. War happens when people think they need to take things from other people to be happy. But that's silly, because there's enough space and energy and matter in the universe for everyone to have everything they want. The problem is that most people don't know how to use what's already there. She illustrated her point with casual mentions of converting starlight into any desired matter, folding space to create infinite living areas, adjusting time flow so everyone can have all the moments they needed to pursue their dreams. The aliens who want to fight us seem scared, she continued. Maybe they think we want to take their stuff. But we don't need their stuff. We can make anything we want. What we really want is to be happy with our families and friends and to learn new things every day. Admiral Krethnox realized she was right. The Council had declared war because they feared human expansion would consume galactic resources. But humans had moved beyond scarcity entirely. They took planets not because they needed them, but because they enjoyed gardening on a cosmic scale. The paper concluded with a suggestion that would echo through history. Maybe the aliens would like to come to our school carnival next month. We're making a solar system model in the gymnasium using real gravity. They could help, and maybe they'd see that we're not scary. We're just people who like building cool things. Emma had added a postscript in her careful child's handwriting. P.S. Mom says the council members might enjoy her chocolate chip cookies if they'd like to discuss things properly instead of fighting. The Admiral called an emergency meeting of his command staff. When they gathered, He displayed Emma's homework on the main screen. "Gentlemen, I believe we have made a catastrophic error in judgment." His officers studied the simple words written by a human child. Slowly, the implications sank in. "Sir," said Captain Vextar quietly, "are we the bad guys?" Admiral Krethanox considered the question. They had assembled the largest military force in galactic history to attack a civilization that used stellar engineering to create more beautiful sunsets. They had brought weapons of mass destruction against people who spent their time teaching children to build tree houses in multiple dimensions. "I believe," he said carefully, "that we have been operating under some serious misunderstandings." The transmission to Council High Command took 6 hours to compose. "How do you explain that the enemy you came to destroy turned out to be a civilization of teacher engineers who treated the fundamental forces of the universe like household appliances? How do you report that their greatest weapon wasn't technology, but their unshakable focus on what truly mattered to them?" The war ended not with surrender or victory, but with the universe's most embarrassing diplomatic incident. Admiral Krethanox formally requested permission to attend the school carnival on Eden 7. His entire fleet wanted to see how humans had built a working solar system model using controlled gravity in a gymnasium. The Council's declaration of war transformed into the largest cultural exchange program in galactic history. Representatives from 847 species lined up to learn how humans had solved the fundamental problems of existence, scarcity, conflict, and the meaning of happiness. Emma Rodriguez got an A+ on her homework assignment and an offer to address the Galactic Council about conflict resolution. She politely declined, explaining that she had soccer practice that day and couldn't let her team down. In the end, the greatest military alliance in known galactic history learned a truth that a 4th grader had tried to teach them. Peace isn't the absence of war. It's the presence of people who care more about building beautiful things than destroying each other. The universe became a quieter, more wonderful place. And somewhere in human space, children continued to play in impossible parks while their parents worked on problems they found personally meaningful, blissfully unaware that they had just prevented the largest war in galactic history simply by being themselves.